A very good Friday morning to everyone out there. Landon here with you to bring you your latest weather forecast for the Wobbles community and beyond, courtesy of On Target. We're going to jump right into it, folks. Hurricane Helene made landfall last night on Florida, bringing drastic devastation down around portions of Apalachicola Bay, on around and just south and southeast of Tallahassee. We got the remnants of what's left over of Helene coming up our way. We got two things that we're focusing on as we work throughout this Friday and on into the start of the weekend as well, all right? We have got two weather headlines that are currently out for the entirety of the Wobbles community. We have a flood watch that's already in place for additional rainfall amounts of 3 to 5 inches, all right? Now, starting yesterday evening and continuing throughout this morning, several locations have already received at or above an inch of total rainfall. We're expecting a lot more of that throughout today and all the way through the end of the weekend, but the heaviest moisture access and the rain chances will be throughout this Friday into the early part of the start of the weekend. Another threat that we're going to be dealing with, folks, is a wind advisory. We've also got a high wind warning that's been put out to our neighbors just to our north and east, closer to in and around the Louisville metro area. We have got this wind advisory out for wind gusts of 40 to 50 plus miles an hour working throughout the day. The combination of already saturated ground with a lot more rain coming in here, with the stronger winds later this morning on into this afternoon, especially if we can get a few breaks in the cloud cover, could lead to some downed trees, potential for some power outages too. We're just putting it out there, folks, for the reality of the situation. It doesn't mean that all this is going to come to fruition, but it is very much on the cards for us as we work throughout this Friday and get on into the weekend, all right? So let's take a look at it, folks. Look at that baby purr. The remnants of Helene, what is still at tropical storm strength, is cutting north right through the great state of Georgia. This thing is going to be pinwheeling and being sucked in through the Fujiwara effect with an upper level low that's located just to our south and west. And that's going to be bringing that moisture axis up and into our area as it continues to pull off to the north and west as we progress throughout the day. All right, folks? Do yourself a favor. Our friends and partners at On Target, go ahead and save that phone number in case you need it. If you're dealing with any major flood concerns, any emergencies, you got any trees down on any structures, that phone number right there will lead you to their emergency line, even if it's after hours. Something to keep hold of. I promise you, Denton and the gang will take care of you. They were out here a little bit earlier this week taking care of some things for me on the flooding side of things, all right? So let's take a look at the current conditions and what it is that we are currently looking at. We've got temperatures that's hanging out right around the mid and upper 60s across the entire region. We already got the past 24-hour precipitation map pulled up for you here as well. We have got nearly every site, with the exception of Butler County, that's going to be crossing the inch threshold here in just a little bit at 0.8 of an inch. But across the rest of the region, folks, we're closing in on 1.5 inches or greater. Where the rains first arrived down in Allen County, they're about to cross over the 2-inch threshold, folks. And you can see why yesterday we were calling for anywhere from an additional 2 all the way up to 6 inches of potential rainfall that began yesterday evening and will continue all the way through the end of the weekend and even into the early days of next week. Look at this surface map. Tropical Storm Helene still holding tropical storm strength, even though it's several hundred miles inland, all the way up into Georgia now. That is very impressive here, to say the least. That sucker's going to continue to pull back, folks, and you can see the dashed red area that they have there that engulfs the entirety of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. We could be looking at some flooding concerns, obviously. It's going to get unloaded out there. If you're got your phone nearby, go ahead and send out your friendly text messages. Avoid Fairview. Got a feeling that place might be gobbling up a few vehicles before the day is said and done. Let's jump over here and look at the latest model guidance. Fujiwara engage. That's what we're seeing out there early this morning. We've got this pinwheeling upper level low right over northern Mississippi and southwestern Tennessee. That's going to be pulling and dragging the remnants of Helene and engulfing it into this pinwheeling motion that's just going to be overstaying its welcome throughout the entirety of today, on into our Saturday and Sunday, and not getting out of here, folks, until we work into the possibly Monday night time frame, okay? So watch these two areas of low pressure and watch how they interact. Again, the remnants of Helene is there on the right, and the pinwheeling upper level low is right there on the left. You'll see, and you'll take note, those things merge and combine, and look at that. Characteristic of an upper level low, folks, they just don't know when to leave, right? They continue to pinwheel, continue to pinwheel. Here we are looking at Monday afternoon. Here we are finally getting into Monday night and the pre-dawn hours of Tuesday morning, and the low skirts out of here and gets picked up by the mean and mid-level flow, exiting off to the north and east of the region, all right? In response to that, this is what we're going to have to deal with as a result. We've already got the tropical-like downpours that's already worked in here, but just watch, folks, as this thing progresses throughout today, all right? Here we are working into early afternoon, and I want you all to take note of something. You will note that we've got some breaks in the action over here near Louisville, stretching down towards Somerset, portions of central and eastern Kentucky. Where that cloud cover and those rain chances break up, folks, that's going to allow for some downward momentum to bring those very, very strong winds aloft down to the surface. This is why we have the wind advisories and the high wind warnings in place across the great Commonwealth, all right? Between roughly mid and late morning, we should be able to see the winds begin to pick up and increase and continue that steady state until we work into this afternoon, all right? So I just wanted you all to take note of that, but watch. We work through the afternoon, we get into this evening, we work throughout the overnight, we get into our Saturday, we work into Saturday afternoon, we work into Saturday night, we work into our Sunday. Look at this thing, dude. Just pinwheeling. Continuing to just pinwheel in this counterclockwise motion and bringing repetitive rounds of rain and storms here across the region, all right? So in addition to the continued rain chances, the heaviest, which will be today and tomorrow, and then tapering down to an extent Sunday into Monday of next week, we're going to have to deal with these potential for some very, very strong gusty tropical-like winds coming along with this. So you will note as we worked into mid-morning, we got some wind gusts upwards of the 40 to 50 mile an hour range, and this continues all the way through the afternoon. And look at these readings over here in Louisville and Lexington. 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts, a possibility, stretching down with maybe 55 mile an hour winds down here for us. That's rather significant, folks, especially with the saturated grounds. That's why we do have some concerns of the potential for downed trees and maybe even some power outages that's going to come along with this as well. This will continue all the way through this afternoon. We get into this evening, folks. It's still going to be gusty out there, but with more rain chances that are coming back in here and socking us back in with that thick cloud cover. That's going to par down the winds at least to an extent. We don't really want to see any breaks in the action today. If we can keep the steady rain showers in here along with the thick cloud cover, that's going to mitigate these strong winds. So hopefully, we're going to keep our fingers crossed here. That is what we see come to fruition here as we progress throughout the final day of the work week for us, all right? So that's something that we want to definitely be paying close attention to here as we work over the course of the next 24 to 36 hours. Here's a look at the latest from the National Hurricane Center. Keeping it at tropical storm strength right here at 5 a.m. Friday. We just rolled past the 6 a.m. hour here. And look at this, folks. It keeps it at tropical storm strength as it runs right along the border of Tennessee and Kentucky. As we work into this afternoon, then it gets downgraded to a tropical depression, and it just sits right over the top of the Wobbles community. Repetitive rounds and showers and storms, folks. That's the name of the weather game with the potential for damaging winds. Here's a look at the latest drought monitor, and this was released yesterday, folks, and as you can see, we still got some pretty serious drought conditions out there. Hopefully by the end of this weekend, with 3 to 6 inches of rainfall, this thing is going to be mitigated and in some cases completely wiped out we can use the rain, folks, and the good news is we're not expecting it to just dump buckets over the course of 2 to 3 hours, but we're going to spread this out over a 72-hour period that should help the local rivers and streams in regards to any flood stages. But your typical low-lying areas, that would include Fairview Plaza, will probably see some flooding concerns in the typical low-lying roads as a result, okay? So let's jump over here and we'll take a look at the latest graphic packet provided by our terrific partners up at the National Weather Service in Louisville. We remain underneath a slight risk. There's a very high confidence probability of the flooding concerns and 3 to 5 inches of total rainfall that'll be working in here. The timing of arrival of the strongest wind should be somewhere between 9 a.m. through 3 p.m. today is kind of the peak time frame that we're looking at that. And as we promised you folks, here's a look at the wind headlines. They've got the high wind warning stretching from Louisville south and east towards Somerset down through Russell Springs area, with a wind advisory in place for the entirety of the Wombles community here where we are located, okay? They got peak wind gusts Friday afternoon. It looks like with the heavier rain chances and cloud cover for us, they're keeping peak gusts around the 40 to 45 mile an hour range, closer to the 60 mile an hour range in the high wind warning area from points of Louisville and stretching down to the south and east. And of course, any additional rain accumulations that we're looking at, we could be looking at anywhere, folks, on top of the 1 to 2 inches we received last night. We could be getting another 2 to 4 inches of rainfall before it's all said and done. Folks, with the way that these tropical systems behave, some localized areas could potentially get in on even more. All right? So there's the weather headlines, folks. Flood watch is out for the entirety of Wombles all day today until Saturday morning. Wind advisory in effect throughout the entirety of today through Saturday morning as well. Here's a full breakdown of your next 6-day weather forecast presented by Ohio Valley Insurance. Widespread showers and storms today. You all know the name of the game. We just covered it all. Highs right around the 70-degree mark. I think some of us aren't going to get out of the 60s today. Working to our Saturday, widespread rain showers remain the name of the weather game. Gusty winds, highs between the mid and upper 60s. Lingering rain chances continue throughout the entirety of our Sunday with lower 70s forecast. Monday, the final day of the scattered rain chances to deal with, and then sweet relief Tuesday into Wednesday with cooler, less humid conditions underneath rays of sunshine. Oh, Lordy, doesn't Wednesday look beautiful? Sunny and 75, as Joe Nichols would say, and we will take all that we can get after this active weekend that we're going to experience. Friends, it's going to wrap up your Friday morning weather or not forecast, brought to you by On Target. Folks, save the number right there above my head. Give those folks a call if you got any sort of emergencies or damage that you need to take care of. They are the premier storm damage specialist here across the Wombles community. You all have a blessed Friday and even better weekend. Stay dry out there if you can.